Hi Internet, how's it going? Kwing here, and today we're talking about a review of The Flash, because the Flash reviews are in, and Screen Rants is a non-review. Oh my gosh. Now, what do I mean by non-review? Now, if you guys didn't know this, I was actually in the video game industry as a journalist from 2004 until 2014, and I was a pretty darn good writer. In fact, I was good enough to stay around for 10 years, but that's besides the point. What I learned in my brief... Can I say 10-year? Does that work? Or no, that's longer, isn't it? Anyway, in my brief career as a journalist, paid, basically there were 3 pillars of writing that I was recommended by different editors. One was a synopsis, which was a lazy way of writing, which basically you tell the entire plot of the movie without adding spoilers, which is a lot easier than you think it is, and then just give it a little bit of opinion and call it a day. You know, and the score, of course. And then the other one was the one that your editor would hate and despise, which would be a very detailed review that had lots of nitpicking and lots of pro points, and it felt like the narrative of your review was arguing with yourself on whether you hated the movie or liked it, or whatever. But it was always fun to send those reviews, which I wrote a lot of those, to my editor, and then get angry text messages like, "What did you decide? Did you like the game or hate it?" And then the third way of doing things was just being objective and really interjecting no opinion and just being very nonchalant, which, believe it or not, a lot of game companies used to like that because they would call those favorable, because you weren't really leaning bad or good, it was just kind of meh. And then the fourth way of doing things was the IGN method, and we call that we call that people were writing their words and IGN was using... Wait, no. IGN was watching somebody's review on YouTube, and then they were incorporating their ideas into their... Whoa. Never mind. We can't use the IGN method. Anyway, so those were the pillars of writing. Now, what was this lady's review? Well, first off, this lady is a hack. That means she's very bad at her job. And she has a clear agenda to hate this movie. It's not a good thing when the entire review is about the actor and the actor's, we'll say, colorful past. And Ezra, I'm just going to say this right now because people might get the wrong idea from my sarcasm, Ezra deserves jail. All the bad things Ezra did, any one of those deserve prison. If I did any one of those things, I would be in jail right now. Most likely. And living in a van down by the river once I got out, because I would be financially ruined. Because I am not a protected class in Hollywood. In fact, did you know in Hollywood you can literally shoot 2 people in the face and get away with it scot-free? No consequences. Do you know who I'm talking about? Because Hollywood protects their own. That's just what they do. Anyway, so this review, non-review, is all about Ezra. And it's supposed to be about Ezra because Ezra is playing 2 versions of Barry Allen. Barry Allen from Ben Affleck's universe, the OG Barry, or we'll call him Barry Prime. And then the second Barry from Michael Keaton's universe, kind of. It gets confusing, but we'll say he's from Keaton's universe. So he's Keaton Barry. The one who grew up with Michael Keaton as Batman before Gotham became a utopia. Because Batman did his job. Anyway, so that is okay. But unfortunately, that's not what this review is. This review is the inner struggle that the female writer, who no one cares about. Your job is to go and watch a movie and then to tell your readers if you like the movie or not. And I'm sorry, I might be out of the game a little bit, but this review, I mean, there would be red marks all over it if I was your editor, for one thing. I would have made you write this over a dozen times. And once you turned in a decent one, I would probably have you write it again to ruin your weekend, just because you ruined my weekend for having to read this garbage. You know, that's what an editor is supposed to do. You're not supposed to be friends with your editor. You're supposed to be at odds at them, so you do a good job so you don't have to be bothered by them on the weekend when you're trying to spend time with your... I'm getting flashbacks. Yeah, it's not supposed to be a friendly thing, okay? At least it wasn't a decade ago. Anyway, so this review is nonsense. All I got was maybe this lady thinks she hates Ezra and she actually secretly has like an I Love Ezra Miller room inside of her house that she... you know, lights candles to, because Ezra clearly lives in this lady's brain. And it's all throughout her writing. Like I said, it's important to talk about Ezra's character. He plays 2 Barry Allens, right? That would be important to talk about. Be important to talk about Keaton and Keaton's role in this movie is extensive, but you don't get that from this review. This person had, like, a duality moment watching the movie, like, I like part of this movie, but if I talk about anything like this, then my circle is going to devour me like the Donner Party. Arrgh. Because that happens all the time, actually. If you didn't know this, learn this now. SJWs will eat their own. You can believe every single thing that they believe, but the moment that you step out of line and think something differently, they will eat you. And either kick you out of the cult, I mean the flock, the group, or they will demand you beg for forgiveness so they can break you and then bring you back into the Kool-Aid circle. That's how they do things. That's why these people are a cancer on society. They just are. They're very crazy. But I don't know if this lady thought that she had, like, you know, some type of weapon to her head when she was writing this, like that she had to make a bad review, or if she's just really bat guano. I don't know. But I was hoping that we'd actually learn something about Ben Affleck or Michael Keaton or, you know, things like that. But not only did she hate Ezra Miller in the movie, but also she hated the female characters. I'm like, wait, aren't you a lady too? Isn't that a good thing that you have Iris West, a woman of color, in the movie, but you're going to downplay Iris's role and just say she's a token girlfriend? It's like, can you not see that's literally racism. You're saying that Iris has no important validation in the movie other than just being Barry's girl. Actually, she's kind of like the lightning rod for the movie. She's important, just like Barry's mom is important. Which, I mean, if you read Flashpoint, then you would understand the significance of Barry's mom. Barry's mom isn't just there to, you know, be the catalyst for everything Barry does. Barry loves his mom. There's no love in this review. There is no understanding of the core of the film, which is family values. Even though this isn't Barry's family, it's a family that has a Barry Allen in the multiverse, and Barry Prime is willing to risk his existence to save his mother, who he only found in this universe. I believe that's what the big thing is that Barry Allen was only able to find one of his mom alive in the entire multiverse, and that's why he's willing to fight, you know? And the actress who's playing his mom does a great job. You know, she's a lady who grew up with her son. She was never killed. And Barry has a loving family and had no idea that he screwed up the timeline and the world and brought Zod back to life and all this other stuff, which Ben Affleck actually told him not to do, you know, because he said there would be serious ramifications, which we could have gathered from the trailer. But this non-review doesn't do any of that. This non-review just reminds you over and over and over and over and over and over about the bad things Ezra Miller did. Even things I didn't know about I learned in this review, so thank you for that. But I would not categorize this as a review. This is garbage, and it needs to be pointed at and, like, you know, used as an example. If I was a rival publication to Screen Rant, I would print out this review and I would put it on the bulletin board of my publication and teach people, do not write like this because you will be fired. I do not want this kind of garbage in my publication if I'm sending you to watch a movie on my dime, you know, early. You know, we have a reputation at this paper. I get all Perry White on your butt. Or J. Jonah Jameson, one or the other. That's what I would do, because this thing deserves to be scorned. Not the lady that wrote it. She doesn't deserve to be pestered and harassed. But her writing is terrible. So you can make fun of her writing, but just leave the lady alone. Okay? I think she has her own Ezra Miller demons to deal with in her cuckoo for Cocoa Puff mind. So, yeah, that's basically all the review was. As the Flash movie, you know, gets closer to releasing, you're going to see probably more reviews like this, because the hive mind mentality is, because Ezra did bad things, they are not going to be objective with this movie. I don't know how I'm going to be at the film, because when something's bad, regardless of, I'm not really thinking about the actor's history as I'm sitting there in the theater. I'm thinking about, does this movie suck or not? And then when it sucks, it's like, was there anything in this movie that was positive? And then I see it a second time, and I'm like, I hate my existence. Why did I see this a second time? It's worse the second time. Why did you do this? Amber's going to kill you because you just wasted more money to see a movie that was even more mediocre than the last time you saw it, which was a few days ago. And then you're sitting at your desk and you're like, oh, how am I going to write this? Because I have all this pressure from my audience to say something positive about this mediocre film. So, yeah, that's what people should be struggling with when they go to see movies, is what I used to deal with all the time. Which is why I stopped reviewing films, actually, because it was driving me crazy. Same thing with Amber. Amber used to do film reviews all the time. But that's the kind of thing you're supposed to be doing when you go and you see a film. You're supposed to judge the film on how the film is, or what the story of the film is. If the movie made you feel anything, or if the movie made you angry. None of that was in this review. So this review deserves scorn. You know, it does. In fact, leave all your angry comments about what you think of that review on my page. Like, in the comments below, you can tell me how much you dislike the Flash review from Screen Rant. I want to know about it. You can do it all over the page down there. Don't do it on her page. Do it right down there. And, yeah, it's a great way to vent out your anger and rage, and stuff like that, so... But I don't know if they'll pull their review down. I doubt it. I'm a very small cog in a wheel of many, many big people these days, so it really doesn't matter what I say or do. So, but yeah, rather than actually post up the review for everybody to look at, I'll just use random footage of whatever I want. I mean, I will be seeing the Flash movie, and I will let you guys know if it's good or bad, if the cameos sucked or didn't. Some of the cameos we know are kind of, for me, I don't want to see certain people again. So I know I'm already kind of petty, but even if I overall don't like a certain actor or whatever, I tend to try to judge the movie based on its story. But anyway, that does it for me. Thank you so much for listening to this. Hopefully you guys had a lot of fun. And hopefully some Flash, reviews will actually talk about the movie a little bit instead of just a few little blurbs here and there. That would be nice. But take care, everybody. I will see you guys over on my other channel talking about Street Fighter stuff and some other fun things. And I will try to keep this channel updated with as much stuff as possible now that I have access again. So, but that's a story for another time, because I still don't know what happened. Besides censorship. All right, guys. Take care. Keep it locked here for more news on everything Batman in movie, TV, video games, and occasionally comics. Later, Gothamites.